Hey guys, what's going on? Troy at Mountain Man Treasure here, and today, going back to reseller school.
Mountain Man, Mountain Man.
Treasures.
Welcome into the channel, guys. My name is Troy. I'm a part-time reseller based out of Montana. I have a day job, very early morning job, work at a radio station, and when I get off around lunchtime, I'm able to go into thrift stores and go to estate sales on the weekends. I go to garage sales in the summer when there's not half a foot of snow on the ground like there is now. The plan, at least the goal, is to buy low and sell high. Simple, but it's not necessarily easy. And we're going to talk about that today. This channel is all about teaching folks about reselling. And we've got a lot of newer people that are watching the channel and not a whole lot of garage sales going on in Montana in the winter. And so we take this time to share a little bit of Reseller 101. I do have a thrift haul that I have to shoot for you. I went to Goodwill after work today, and midday, I found some killer stuff, especially in the toys and the plush, guys. It's a section that's so often overlooked by both resellers and the store themselves. They price up a lot of stuff. They have not yet, at least in my place, caught on to all of the toys. And so I'm still finding gold there in the toy aisle. And today we did very, very well. So we'll go over that here coming up in a little bit. But today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. We got a couple of questions on recent videos, and so I wanted to address those. And one of them, it was from Phil. He asked about, well, I'll put it up here. He asked about expectations. He says, new reseller, what should expectations be? Or maybe more accurately, what should realistic expectations be? And it's a fantastic question. I think it's so easy, especially, so many people say, what should I do? How do I learn? I say, go to YouTube, and find a reseller that you like, find 3 that you like, find 5 that you like, and watch them, learn from them. There's so much good, free information. There's bad information out there as well, but I think there's a lot of really good information, a lot of really good people out there trying to share that information. I hope you get information from this channel. And that being said, it's still very easy to get a distorted view of reselling, especially when you're very excited. If this is something new, it's the start of the year. A lot of people are just now getting into something new. They're getting into reselling. Maybe that's why you're here. And we get excited when there's something new, right? We want to jump right in and we think everything's going to be great. I've watched the videos. I know what to do. There's more to it than that. There's more work to it than that. And we've talked about before how Instagram and Facebook and YouTube wind up being a little bit of a highlight reel. And so it makes it look very often a lot easier than what it is. You look at Craigslist Hunter or Cincinnati Picker. Look, he's got up there. I've got all my bins are stickered for SKUs that I have. I'm not very good about using them, but I've started. I've at least got some stickers going on, right? There's Commonwealth Picker. I can't compare myself to Commonwealth Picker. I can't compare myself, you can't see it out of the screen here, but to Rally Roots, to Cincinnati Picker, Art Vandalay behind me. I can't compare myself to other people. I am not in their situation. I am not picking up stuff where they are. I don't know what their margins are. There's so many unanswered questions. You have to be realistic about what you're doing, and you have to not get discouraged when things don't go necessarily as well as you thought they would from the start. Recently, I think it was Josh over Harry Tornado. I think he posted on his Instagram a comment. I think he got on one of his videos saying, hey, I have listed 20 things and I've been working really hard. I've only sold 1. What am I doing wrong? And his answer is the same as mine would be. You're not necessarily doing anything wrong. Your idea of how this works just might be a little bit skewed. Now, the general rule of thumb, and this is not a hard and fast rule, right? But it's just a general idea that seems to be relatively universal, is that if your store is doing very, very well, you should sell 1% of your inventory every day. Okay, that's the general idea. So if you list 20 items, what does the math work out to be? You should be selling 1 thing every 10 days because it's a fraction per day. So every 10 days, maybe you're selling 1 thing, right? That's how the math works. What if you bump it up to 50? You're selling at 1%, 1 thing every 2 days, right? What if you bump it up to 100? You're selling 1 thing every day. 1% of 100 is one. So once you have 100 listings, you're going to hopefully get one sale each day. So you can see it's like fishing. The more lines in the water, the better chance you have of catching a fish, right? The more items you have listed, the better chance you have of one of those catching somebody's eye and going out the door. So I think you won't really start seeing consistent multiple sales a day until you get to around, I'd like to say 500. That feels like a very big number. But that's really where I started seeing consistent multiple sales a day, was once I hit about 500 listings. So there's a lot of work to get there, and I get that, but it's not something that you can't achieve. This is something that you can do. And so you just got to work at it. I think there's a general idea sometimes when people get into this that reselling is easy, right? It's not easy. It's simple. You buy low, you sell high. Simple does not necessarily equate to easy. So you got to work at it. You got to get those listings up, but follow in general that 1% rule. If you're selling 1% of your store per day, you're doing pretty good. Just as an example, when I started, I still actually remember the very first thing I bought. It was actually the very first thing that I sold. I found at Goodwill a pair of high top, it was an Adidas Rod Laver sort of collab. Rod Laver, a famous tennis player, and there were Rod Laver tennis shoes. They were really cool, red shoes. I kind of lucked into them. I looked at them and thought, these look cool. And turns out they were pretty cool. They were pretty rare. They were the first thing that I sold. I think it took about a month. It took 3 or 4 weeks before those sold to a freight forwarder. And so they went overseas somewhere. But it took about 3 or 4 weeks. And I still remember thinking, hey, I got these things. They're really rare. Mine were the only pair, I believe, online. They were super clean once I washed them and dried them and got them. The listing looked good. Everything, I did everything right. But you've got to wait till the right person comes along. And it took, like I said, about 3 or 4 weeks. But sometimes then you get lucky. I remember very early on, I found some blank media for, I think they were like 3.5-inch floppy disks, new and sealed. They sold in days. They sold really, really quickly. So sometimes you get lucky and you stumble on the thing that just has a great sell-through rate. And that's part of it too. You want to be sourcing the very good things, the things that sell well. But until you get a lot of them listed, they're not going to sell. And, even things that you think are good. I remember maybe the second or third, it was among the first handful of things I listed. I was actually listing during the NFL playoffs, and it was a jersey. And I can't remember the name of the player, but it was a running back, I remember, for one of the teams that was in the playoffs. It was one of his past teams. So it wasn't a current jersey, but it was a current name. And so it should have done well. I think it took about 1.5 years for that one to sell. Sometimes that just happens. You think you've got a great one, and it just doesn't work. So be patient. List more. It's going to come. Just got to keep listing. Bottom line, don't get a distorted view of eBay. Get information from me, from Harry Tornado, from Commonwealth, whoever you get it from, get it from Froggy Flips. And there are a lot of great sources, but don't compare yourself to anybody on YouTube. Compare yourself to yourself. We also got a question, suggested comment, let's call it a suggestion, about talking about some of, I think they said, my best and worst mistakes. There's no best mistake. There's no good mistake, right? We all make mistakes when we're doing this. We make mistakes when you're trying anything new, right? You've got to learn, and you learn by doing. And when you do, you're going to make mistakes. Now, I have made plenty of mistakes doing this. In fact, I just made one last week. Okay. So it's not like, again, we talked about getting a distorted view. It looks like, well, these people that do these videos, they just, no, we make mistakes as well. I had 2 Star Wars figures that were both Biggs Darklighter, and I wasn't paying attention to the fact that they were 2 separate variants of the same character. Just didn't pay attention. I that's it. Didn't pay attention. And so I sold one of them along with another Star Wars figure. They bought 2, and it went to Canada, went up to Ontario. And he messaged me a little bit later and said, hey, I got the package, made it here fine, but this is not the Biggs that I ordered. I have this one. I wanted the other one. I have a collection, and I actually haven't seen that one before, and that was the one I wanted. And then I realized the problem. Ordinarily, not a big problem, right? Keep it, because I don't want to mess with an international return. And even if it wasn't, I'd probably say just to keep it. And I will today put the other one in the mail and I will send it off to you. That's how I generally would fix that. And they'd say, are you sure I can send it back? I'd say, no, I'm sending you the other one. Keep this one. Sorry for the mistake. Generally, that's going to work. But he's international, so that adds a layer. And adding another layer to this mistake onion was I actually sold the other bigs and sent that one out, which was also, of course, the wrong one. That, once again, I wasn't paying attention, didn't realize what I put in the box did not match what was on the screen that I sold. The name was the same, and I just didn't pay attention. And so I had to tell the guy, hey, I actually sold the one that you were supposed to get. So let me contact him. And, so I've been going back and forth. Now, fortunately, Bill, a friend of mine, is the person that bought the second bigs. And so I was able to contact him. He's also a reseller, and say, hey, look, here's what I did. I screwed up. And would you be willing, if I send you a label, to slap it on that box when it gets there and forward it on to the customer? He said, yeah, no problem. He was very, very kind about the whole thing. So he's going to forward this on to the other customer, who was also very considerate. He said, hey, I recognize it's going to take a couple days. I just wanted to I recognize mistakes happen. Just wanted to get the right figure. So both of them, very cool. And what I did then for Bill is I got online and I ordered another one. And so I said, hey, I'm ordering another one. It's actually coming from just a few states away, so that one's going to show up at your door. You see how this works. Now, am I out a few bucks? Yeah, but it was my mistake. I'm the one that screwed it up. Fortunately, I had very good customers that are working with me to make it right. And a lot of times I think you're going to get that. I think sometimes we focus too much on the bad buyers on eBay and don't realize that there are millions and millions of very good buyers on eBay. And so if you're just a person, if you just tell them, look, I screwed up, I'm willing to make it right, what can we do? Very often they're going to work with you on it. Same thing happened. Talk about another mistake is I actually packaged up, I think it was a smoke detector or something. It was a Honeywell something. And I packaged it up along with all the other stuff, and I thought, it was fine. About a week and a half later, this guy sends me a message and says, hey, I see that this thing told me that it had shipped. I got a tracking number, but it hasn't moved yet. Can you tell me what's going on? And sure enough, I get in there, and not only has it not moved, it never actually checked into the postal service. And my post office is very, very good about scanning stuff. And so I'm thinking, what in the world happened? And I checked at the post office, and they said, yeah, we've never scanned it. I can't tell you where it is. And so then I came home and I thought, I better look around here. And sure enough, what I had done is I was piling all my stuff up on my office chair when I was packing, took all that stuff out of the office chair, put it in the IKEA bag, off to the post office. Well, it was in a padded envelope, and it fell off the top of the pile and fell next to my table. Didn't see it. And so I had it packaged, and it was just sitting there for like a week and a half. And so I let the guy know, hey, here's what happened. And I refunded him and obviously put it in the mail. And he actually came back and was like, no, you don't have to refund me. It's okay. I fully understand. Not a big deal. But you know what? It was the right thing to do. It's good customer service. It was my mistake. I screwed up. And so, it's not right that he should have to pay for something getting there, way after when it was supposed to. So I did actually refund him. I sent that along. And now I've learned, and that's what you have to do when you make a mistake. You have to apply the lessons you've learned. We pay to learn in this business. Hopefully you don't pay too much, but when you make those mistakes, you don't want to pay for them again. So now I have a much better system for stacking up all of my stuff, for the envelopes that might get lost. I am much more careful about that. And in terms of screwing up the bigs, that's just a reminder, right? That's just, hey, pay attention, moron. What you're putting in the box should be what they actually ordered. That one's just on me. I've learned my lesson, and hopefully I'm not going to make that mistake again, at least for a while, until I stop paying attention again. One other thing I guess that I should mention that I do is now at the post office on high volume days, if it's just a day where I got 4 or 5 or 6 I'm able to pretty easily sort of eyeball that, right? Like I got everything I got. But if it's over a weekend or a very busy day, I count them. I count how many orders that I packed up. And then when I take them to the post office, as I put them on the counter, I'm actually counting 1, 2, 3 to make sure that they all made it from the computer to the box to the IKEA bag to the post office. I want to make sure that everything gets delivered. So that's the video today, guys. Realistic expectations and mistakes. Keep them and don't make them again. Learn from your mistakes. Make it right for your customer and then make it right for you in a way that you hopefully don't make that mistake again. We've got that thrift haul. I think I'm going to try and put that together for Friday. I haven't shot anything. Nothing's even out of the Goodwill bags yet. In fact, they're still out there in the car. But I'll get them in here and we'll go over all the stuff that we got because we've got some good stuff in there, guys. I'm excited to show you that. I'm excited to get some of that listed. And then coming up on Monday, I think another, probably our last garage sale video until the summer rolls back around again. We're just out of footage at a garage sale. So that is coming. Also coming up, we're giving away that Ulu knife that we featured on the end of last video. So go back, if you didn't watch that, go back and watch that. Comment down below of that video. We're going to randomly select somebody on Thursday night. We'll announce the winner on Friday's video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I actually got to go clip into the bike. I've got a ride tonight.